Okay, here we go. Stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the approval of the minutes. Second set of minutes that we have, we will just table for now. We'll be approving the first set of minutes.
I move that we approve the regular school board meeting minutes as presented.
I second.
I have some discussion. Last month, there was a canceled warrant in the amount of $1,000, and you were gonna look into that and see what that was all about.
Yeah.
I did, and that check was actually cashed, so it's all good.
And it was a scholarship
Yes.
fund? Okay.
Yep, that was an error. It was cashed late, but it was cashed.
Okay. Good.
Yes.
That's all I had.
Okay.
Lana?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Ellen?
Yes?
Bo?
Yes. Approval of the bills and the warrants.
I move we approve the bills and warrants as presented.
Second that.
Any other questions or concerns on those? Okay.
Ellen?
Yes.
Lana?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Bo?
Yes. Any public participation on any non-agenda items?
I would like to, please. So I'll maybe just for your help, just so it's like, in case you summarize.
Awesome, thank you.
Yes, so it is actually a letter, but I thought I would go ahead and address you guys if I could. Dear Plains School Board, so I know you guys all went through an election process to get here. You obviously are vested, and I respect that. Don't get any of this out of context. That is always, you guys were elected by the community members, and we appreciate the amount of time that you guys dedicate all the time. You're here lots. However, I know that sometimes things are maybe misinterpreted, so I want to put some things out there on the table. You guys were elected, you dedicated a lot of time, and the only reason you would do that is because you believe in the school and you understand its role within the community. But so do we. We're here because we really love what we do and we understand the importance of it. So I'm not coming here tonight as a union officer or any position of authority, but as a longtime Plains resident, a teacher who's concerned. We're all in this small community together. Like, I can go down this table and think about the threads and the things that combine us, that weave us together. We were at the same wedding. You were the first officer to pull over my kid. And I super appreciated the way you handled it. Ellen, we taught together. We sat on Bowles' deck. Like, we're woven together. And I'm just gonna ask that we kind of try and get back to some of that. I feel a little like we're unraveling. So we all want the same thing. We know this. It's a strong school for our kids. We understand the impact that has on our community. Please don't question our commitment. We understand you guys are committed. Please believe that we are too. We really are. We want this. We might feel differently about how to get there. We disagree sometimes amongst ourselves, with administration, with parents, with community members, and there's going to be some disagreements. But please don't question our commitment. We really do want what's best for the school. To this end, I'm gonna ask that you guys, as the school board and with input from the administration, try to implement a process that can better manage the issues when they do come up. They're gonna come up. There needs to be an explicitly stated and consistently followed chain of command to handle academic and extracurricular problems. We know that there's a lot of emotion and passion behind this, and if there's a process, it's gonna help. It's gonna make it easier to manage that from all sides. When concerns arise regarding a school staff member's job performance, character, please address them as professionally and privately as possible. It helps keep us in the community mindset. I'm not asking this out of concerns related to potential liabilities or code of ethics violations or anything like that. I'm simply asking this in the hope that we can make some corrections and help maintain our community, small town atmosphere, our sense of who we are. We've got to be able to work together. Thank you.
Thank you.
I would just ask again if a dual sport policy is going to be brought forth for our students, and if there's going to be some sort of clarity on fundraising to get the lost opportunities back for our kids. Still a lot of rumors swirling. Now people in the business community are like, where's it all going? Where's the fundraising piece of it going? That piece of paper is out there. So this is the second meeting that I've formally asked if you'll please give us some direction. I talked to Trista Feist, who got pinched in a last minute fundraising fury because we didn't have any direction. And we're just hoping that that doesn't happen to our kids. We're trying to be proactive as parents and community members, so just please give us some direction. And as far as the dual sport athlete thing, I think if we don't come up with something, I think you're going to see lost A and B money over it. Kids are waiting to see what their options are. So again, this is the second meeting that I've asked. Hopefully you can put it on an agenda, but school's starting pretty soon.
Okay, anybody else in non-agenda items? We'll move on to reports. None of those that would be giving them now are here. Dr. Walsh did leave a note here, and I'll read that out. The only vacancy we have at this time is for music. We will continue to work on filling that position for the new school year. Negotiations are still underway for PTO. Once an agreement is reached, the classified CBA will be addressed. Russell Quealy began his maintenance supervisor and athletic director position July 1st. He has thrust himself into both positions and is busy learning the scope of work with both responsibilities. Western Montana Mental Health has pulled their program from schools they serve in an effort to reorganize their services and redefine their mission. I have been in contact with Courtney Housen, the program director of Project Aware, which is OPI's program for coordinating school health resources for students' mental health and prevention. We will be meeting to discuss professional development workshops for staff resources needed for students in the area of mental health and wellness. Dr. Walsh has currently attended mandatory training for the new grant that we received from Century 21. It is a required workshop to attend, and she was the only one available that could make it, so she is not here tonight. A couple of reminders. Cabinet Mountain Cooperative with Taylor Salmi will be here August 14th in the high school library. Strategic Action Plan, Emily Dean, MTSBA, will be here Thursday, September 5th at 5 o'clock in the library to continue on and finish that up. So that's the letter from Dr. Walsh. Okay, and then we'll move on to unfinished business. That's ESSER Funds COVID-19 update. Dr. Walsh is not here to present anything. On to unfinished business 24-25 head softball coach rehire, non-rehire.
And I move that we table
that hire or non-rehire of the 24-25 head softball coach.
Okay, table that.
I'll second that.
And then on to consideration of policy updates for final adoption. Policy 8132, activity trips.
I make a motion that we table this activity trips policy since it's a brand spanking new policy, and the problem we have is it addresses a private, or the school having the buses and we don't have them, so we need to look through it more. Mr. Cole.
Would you, yeah, he was.
We'll table that one. And then policy 8210, procurement policy for school food purchases and use of funds. And I recommend that we table that, as Kelly and I need to sit down and go through that and see where we are, because it's financial decisions on how much we put and spend in different places at different times, and I'm not sure what we're gonna do, so.
So another brand new.
It is a
policy.
brand new, yes,
Yeah.
it's both of these are brand new, on that. So. And then we'll move on to new business being the 2024-25 bus driver approvals as presented.
I move that we approve the bus driver list as presented.
I second.
Any other questions or concerns with those? Okay,
Alright, Lana,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Ellen,
Yes,
Bo,
yes. 2024-25 bus route approvals.
I move that we approve the bus routes as presented.
I second that.
Any other questions or concerns with bus routes? Okay,
Ellen,
Yes,
Lana,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Bo.
yes. And then on to personnel.
do we have to do activity tickets?
It's for the now.
Yeah, it's on here.
High school principal hire, Heidi Fettinger.
I move that we approve the high school principal hire of Heidi Fettinger.
And
Do we
I
need to
second that.
have that on there?
Yep.
Okay.
And in the motion, can we maybe specify 712, just so we're clear, 712.
712.
Oh, sorry,
Yes,
yeah.
712, high school 712 principal. You mean she doesn't want Mr. Meredith's job, or not? Isn't she fun all of it?
So much fun.
Oh, yeah, and then add the salary to that.
Oh, in the motion?
Yeah.
For $77,700?
You got a second? I think Ellen seconded.
Yeah.
Questions or concerns on that?
Lana,
Yes.
Ellen,
Yes,
Steve,
Yes.
Bo.
Teacher hire, Jessica Jones for second grade.
I make a motion for the teacher hire for Jessica Jones for second grade.
I second that.
Any
I
other
would-
questions? Go ahead.
yes, I would like to know a little bit more about who she is. She's not anybody I know at all.
I don't have any information to share, sorry.
She's a new teacher, she's new,
She comes from Libby,
and she comes from
Okay.
Libby.
highly recommended by a friend of mine who's an administrator up there. So what that's worth.
And she's looking for housing.
As it is everybody.
Everybody is. She,
There's more available than there was.
she presented very well.
Did you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, any other questions or concerns? Second grade. Okay,
Alright, Steve,
Yes.
Lana,
Yes.
Ellen,
Yes,
Bo.
yes. Teacher hire, Annie Rosenbaum, high school English.
I move that we approve Amy Rosenbaum as the high school English teacher hire.
I second.
Questions, concerns?
Again, I'd like to know a little bit about her. Where she's from.
Great Falls, I believe.
This one I didn't meet, sorry.
Okay. And I was gone for some,
Having a grandchild, so.
yeah.
Is that your opinion as far as for first and second?
Any other questions?
Thank you.
I know the teacher interviews, was the principal interview, were those public?
Yeah.
I thought so.
Yep.
So anybody could have gone and
Yep.
sat in on all of those, okay,
Yep,
I
that's
thought
correct.
so.
And I was gone for some of these, so.
I guess my point is, they're public meetings, so if she disclosed that information, any background information that was there, I don't know why you couldn't reiterate that in this meeting.
Right.
That was my only purpose for that question.
Right.
So if anybody had sat through that and known, then,
Right.
I missed that one.
She's student taught at Polson,
Yeah, I don't know who's sitting on that either.
All I heard was she interviewed very well.
brand new teacher, yeah, she's coming with good recommendations also,
Also looking for housing?
I believe so. Well, last I heard, but that was the beginning of the summer. Her husband's a contractor.
Hmm?
They don't know.
Oh, I know. I wish.
Any other questions or concerns with that one? Okay.
Okay, Lana?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Ellen?
Yes.
Bo?
Yes. Summer groundskeeper hire Curtis Thomas.
I move we approve Curtis Thomas as summer groundskeeper.
I second.
Any questions, concerns on that?
Ellen?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Lana?
Yes.
Bo?
Yes. Substitute approval, Sarah Reed.
I make a motion to approve Sarah Reed for substitute approvals.
I second that.
Any other questions, concerns with that?
Are the substitutes happen to get fingerprinted as well? Yeah, that's a.
They go
stipulation.
through
Okay,
all of that,
yeah,
yeah, all that background stuff,
I
yeah.
asked you my own question when I said it.
No, it's okay. Okay,
All right, Steve?
Yes.
Lana?
Yes.
Ellen?
Yes.
Bo?
yes. Okay, and then on to, activity pass gate ticket price increase.
Make a motion to approve the activity pass and gate ticket price increase.
I second it.
Questions or concerns on that?
What is the increase?
I'm gonna-
You want me to read it?
Yeah, you have it available.
So for grades K through 6, it was 11. It's going to jump $4 to 15. 7 through 12 was 20. It'll be 25. Adult singles for your season pass are 45. Will now be 50. Adults couples 70 will now be 75. And then at the gate for students, they're going to go $1 each. So from 4 to 5 for adult, it'll be going from 6 to 7. For double headers, for students, it'll be 6 to 7, and adults 8 to 9. And then the same requirements for all students participating will need to have a pass. I know we talked about this last year when they were talking about doing it last year. It was gonna be a significant jump. Mr. Nolan presented, and we kind of shut that down because it was gonna jump over $25.
That was a bunch.
It was a lot. And so with inflation and everything, a $5 jump's not that much. I mean, that's pretty affordable.
my only question, I read these quickly and then the board packet disappeared and I didn't get to circle back. So couple prices for 2 people is only going up $5, which is $2.50 a person, right? But we're saddling our kids with an extra $5?
Yeah. My only thought process in that is most schools are now going to, per sport, having to pay,
Mm-hmm.
and we still don't do anything like that. And so that little bit of an increase.
It's not the increase that I'm questioning. I think it has to happen.
Sure.
My question is if you're, like my husband and I, we're gonna pay an extra $5 between the 2 of us,
Sure.
if I read that right.
Mm.
But some of these
Singles
kids are gonna
5 as
pay
well.
the whole extra $5, and I'm just kind of wondering how that got Like, why didn't you just saddle the parents and say, yay, you're a couple and you're married, but you're both paying an extra $5?
Sure.
I don't know.
Probably because the parents are paying for both sides anyway.
Yeah.
Kids don't really pay that.
Yeah.
Then it's nice, cause then maybe more adults
Kids do.
will wanna buy an activity pass and come, if it's not super expensive, I don't know.
I don't know either. And then how do you define couple? We ran into this at the pool when I was dealing with that.
Sure.
And the golf course, both boards I served on, we ran into how do you define that?
That's
And
good.
so if
We'll-
me and my
we'll-
bestie wanna be a couple and save our $2.50, I don't think you have a leg to stand
Yeah,
on.
you
Sure.
identify as a couple, cool, let's go forward with that.
I'm just.
It's a good question.
Yeah,
So
How are they doing it to the golf course, Mr. Cole? I'm curious. You're nodding your head.
I don't know, I just know that it came up at the golf course.
Okay.
Yeah,
I know that how they dealt with it.
Yeah.
It was a pair of brothers,
Is that what it was?
and they wanted to be considered a couple, and they're not. They both had to pay individual.
So you have to stand your ground and
Yeah.
say, nope.
I
Yeah,
don't
they
think
just
I
said, no, we
recall.
can't afford that, and you're not, because you're both adults.
And
That's
you're
a
related.
sensible response.
You are
Yeah.
brothers, right? You
Yeah.
can't legally be
I
a
don't think
couple in
that's
the
what
state
she's
of
necessarily
Montana if
referring
you
to.
are brother's brother.
And the
Please
golf
tell me
course,
that's
not
not
being a publicly funded organization, can do a lot more than the
Sure.
pool, which is government funded, and the school, which is government funded. And when we tried to define family, we had to back off and just say, okay, a group pass is 5 people. And it ended up being 5 neighborhood kids or a family of 5 or whatever. So I'm just throwing that out there and you guys can do it.
I'm gonna guess
Good, we'll
probably
look into
isn't
that.
a question we haven't had before because we already have it identified as a couple's pass. That's not a new wording.
Right.
But the
So we don't
definition
have-
could be questioned.
Could be, but it could be questioned whether we raise these prices or not.
Yeah, we probably should come up with a definition.
I think we're gonna open a big can of worms to put a definition on it.
I say we leave it open-ended.
We're not dealing with it.
Can I make a comment?
Yeah.
This will be the second time we've raised activity passes in the last 30 years.
Yeah.
It is the second time. As a former AD, I really think we should look at some policies on raising our prices on what we pay our workers for events. We're paying $15 for junior high referees. That's the same as it was in 1992.
Goodness.
That's what it was the first year I taught
We
here.
pay better than that for youth softball referees.
So
Okay.
Way
I
better.
think this is a good
Well,
policy
that's a good
increase in
thing.
it, but I think also if you're addressing this, that's something that maybe in the future you would wanna look at because it hasn't been touched in 30 years.
Okay, any other questions or concerns on activity prices? Okay,
Alright, Steve,
Yes.
Lana,
Yes.
Ellen,
Yes.
Bob.
yes. And then on to modification of the May school calendar 24-25.
Do we need a motion on the table before we discuss
Yes.
this? I move that we modify the May school calendar for 24-25 to accommodate for the last day of the teachers on the 30th. Being moved.
I'll second that.
Okay.
But I would like to ask, what is the reason for that?
We approved it for Memorial Day on accident.
Correct.
So we were coming to school on Memorial Day, which is a federally recognized holiday.
Just really not okay. You were preferring to do it to
And
teachers.
everybody missed it, so.
Okay.
So that's why we gotta change it. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, questions or concerns on that?
Ideas, thoughts, and options.
Hmm.
I said ideas, thoughts, and options. We have to move it. Does anyone have any ideas?
Well, I'd have to take place of a separate Friday, let's assume.
Yes.
Oh, well, no school Friday. One of the school, you know.
So, like the week before on the 23rd, make that. It's very confusing.
The date that will be selected will have to be negotiated between
Right.
the two groups.
Okay.
So, just saying that we're not gonna work Memorial Day is pretty much what we're doing, and then
Perfect, and we don't have to
we'll have to
like.
come back and
Gosh, I was
meet
like, dear
and
God,
decide which
how do you figure
day,
that out?
Well, and
which day
we
we,
can't, cause it's.
we would make it up on.
No, yeah, we gotta take it off because it's
Yeah.
according to legal, since it's
Yeah.
a federally recognized holiday, we can't put it on the calendar.
Right.
Okay, any other questions or concerns regarding that?
The only suggestion I could say is that we start Fridays, wasn't it January this year, or the previous school year? Or was this year, yeah. Did we start having Fridays off in January?
We did, but they already approved the schedule for the year. This was just one thing that was an
Right, so
overlook.
what I'm just throwing it out, like, probably it's easier in the earlier part of the year versus like when you get towards the springtime, to maybe add a Friday versus in the springtime. I'm just saying,
Sure.
just throwing it out there as a
Yeah.
suggestion, I'm not saying you have to take it, but just throwing it out.
This is just PIR. This isn't affecting students.
No.
This is affecting
Oh,
staff.
okay.
Is it
It's
affecting
last
students?
day of
It's
the teachers.
It's an instructional day.
It's PI.
It's
It's
a-
a, it's a, it's
It is a student day?
It's a student
Okay,
day.
okay. I couldn't read
Oh, it is?
on that.
Of course, it's
I
that
was
last
like,
day
what?
for students is the 29th.
It was listed as a PI.
Not just many
Oh,
students.
I just
that
couldn't
day.
read it when
We're
I
just trying
pulled
to
it up
fix
on,
this.
okay.
We're,
So it is
right
a
now,
student
what we're doing
instruction.
is we're moving it off on Monday. We're gonna sit down.
Yeah, we're gonna go through
Figure out the day, so we can take it off of the calendar, cause we need to have something kinda set up
Yeah.
already, so.
Okay, any other questions or concerns with that?
Did you make a motion? Or have it-
What-
Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah.
ask someone to restate the motion, cause,
You wanna restate it?
So,
or change it to fit what.
well,
we
my
discussed.
motion was that we approve modifying the May school calendar for the 24-25 school year.
Okay,
So, although we didn't pick a modification for it,
which we
it was
just
that we're
opened.
approving to modify
Yeah.
it.
So we're gonna approve to modify it, but we're not modifying it yet.
Can you say pending negotiations or?
There you go.
There you go, pending negotiations.
So we move forward with.
I mean, we can pick one, it's not really gonna, in the long run, it won't
Why don't
really
you just,
affect.
I would say just leave it as a simple motion that, to modify it, pending negotiations.
Cause if that is part of
So
negotiations.
this is my question, when do we have to have a calendar out for the kids for next year? Cause this is all writing on this right
Probably a while ago.
weeks ago, okay?
Correct.
So, Mr. Cole, can I ask you a question? If we were to put a date on here just to have the calendar going, so they could get one printed out for school for next year, we can still negotiate days for the CBA. This is just making it so they can get something put in the books and get it ready to go. It doesn't mess with negotiations at all. And that when I sent that email out, I explained that to you. Like, this is not messing with negotiations.
Right, but the CBA reads that any alteration of it has to be agreed within negotiations.
Cause everything's
That's
gonna be
in the
right.
CBA.
Okay,
So if you amend it tonight without it going to negotiations, that's why
Okay.
I think
Has
the,
to go.
not that it really makes any difference, if you took the first Friday off, I don't think it makes any difference, but
Right.
it does need to go through
okay.
negotiations.
Just wanted to ask, cause I
meet
know
the-
that that's holding
meet
them
the-
up right now.
What the CBA deals, so that we're not backtracking again.
Okay.
I think you just put in what you said, pending negotiations, what's settled on negotiations, but that day will be removed. I'd even put that in there, that,
Just
Yeah,
put
that
that
day's
Memorial
gotta
Day will be
I'd put that in the motion that
Yeah.
Memorial Day will be removed in May and will be made up according to negotiations.
Yep.
Yeah, what
Thank you.
he said. We'll take that one right there.
Okay,
someone wanna say exactly how they
Do you want
want
me
it?
to do it?
Yeah.
Take it. You want me to make the motion?
Sure.
I don't want
I make a motion for the modification of the schedule for the school year for 24-25 to remove Memorial Day, and will later be decided in CBA negotiations on where that day will land. Just so the federal holiday is removed.
Good way of politically making it,
What's that?
good way of making it politically correct.
That's right. So to remove his Memorial Day holiday and
Well, then
you say that at the end.
And then to be negotiated in the CBA on where that day will land in the calendar for the year,
yeah, where it be made up.
where we made up. Just so it shows Memorial Day's not on here.
Any other questions or concerns on that?
I do think that what we have talked about in negotiations, it keeps our start date consistent, so there won't be any parents not knowing when school starts.
Sure.
So I think that's,
That's good. Thank you.
from what we've already discussed, that our start date's kind of agreed upon, so I don't think it'll change that.
Okay.
Okay, so motion made by Spark, someone second.
I'll second it. It's a very convoluted one.
Okay, any other questions or concerns on that? Okay,
Steve,
Yes.
Lana,
Yes.
Ellen,
Yes.
Bob.
yes.
Adjournment.
Okay, that's it.
How about that?
7:31. Don't forget.
I don't know exactly.
Is that Ed's pocket recorder? Is that your pocket recorder? Should I start whispering in the